Why do you do what you do? Is a rather simple question with far more convoluted answers. A more sophisticated way of phrasing this question would be, what is your purpose? Purpose. Such an elusive term because most of the time we are unaware of the true motivations for our actions. The question of purpose does not come up until we are confronted with the possibility that we have no purpose, or our current one is severely misguided. A purpose is one of the cornerstones of existence, because if we do not possess one, then what is the point of carrying on? Everyone has something that drives them, and no matter how simple or complex it may be, that reason is enough to persevere. This video will examine the characteristics of purpose and why having one is essential. Additionally, it will cover the topic of finding a purpose if you cannot think of one as of yet. To represent the importance of purpose, imagine this scenario. You are planning to go on a road trip where you have previously decided upon a destination. In fact, the destination is probably the first decision that you made. The next decision would have been how to get there, and if you have been following along so far, you would indicate a car as the mode of transportation. Hence the term road trip. Alright then, you have your destination, you have the means of transportation, and you've packed up everything you need. With this plan of action set in motion, you get into the car and attempt to start it. It doesn't start, so you twist the key again and it still doesn't start. What gives? You planned everything out, you have all the essentials necessary for travel, so what is missing? Well, the answer becomes readily apparent when you gaze upon the fuel gauge. To your astonishment, you see that there is no gas in the car, and that means you are going nowhere. This story paints a specific picture, but what is the relevance of this scenario to the topic of purpose, the main point of discussion? Well, just like a gasoline engine cannot function without gasoline, so too can a person not function without a purpose. You can have a goal in mind, which acts as your destination, and you can have all the necessary tools to get there. That is your how. But if you do not have your why, or your purpose, then you will go nowhere. Having purpose ignites the fires that are crucial for you to move towards a goal or a destination. We can see this in the comparison between those who dream and those who act. One dreams of reaching a certain destination. This may be a dream job or life circumstance. Meanwhile, the other person also dreams of similar destinations, but they make the conscious decision to act on those dreams. So what gives? Why does one merely dream, but the other does both, the dreaming and the pursuing? Evidently, the solution to that question rests within the domain of purpose. The one who dreams doesn't have a purpose, and if they do, it is not coherent, as well as strong enough to motivate them. The doer, the person who gets up and takes actions towards their goals, has a clearly defined purpose that inspires them. This person is akin to the car with gasoline in its tank. They are moving forward because their purpose drives them. The destinations that people have in mind of where they want to be and who they want to be are subjective. With purpose, this is also true because it is unique to an individual and their perception of the world. However, the commonality between these subjective individuals with unique purposes is that they have one. They have the fuel in the tank that propels them forward, even when they do not feel like it. This is why purpose is so vital, so instrumental for those who have goals. Even for those who do not possess monumental ambitions, purpose still has a role. Every action you perform is driven by a purpose. It may tie into your core purpose, or it may be a secondary purpose, and so on. The point is that your actions are initiated by some reason, whether you realize it or not. If you are confused as to why you do what you do, ask yourself this: what is the objective of this action? Your answer originates from your motives and out of self-interest. Your purpose is a reason for being, a reason for existing, and it acts out of self-interest. These are key assumptions indeed, and a purpose may necessitate another person, like the protection of loved ones for instance, but it merely involves them. In an example like that, you would have to dig deeper and ask why protecting them is so important. Once you find your answer, one that is significant to your person, then you will have a foundation that nobody can shake. To conclude this section, a purpose is the source of all action you take towards a specific goal. It can also be the reason why you do any and every action. This also qualifies the actions you will not take, such as measures that are contrary to your purpose. A purpose is a motivator. It is your why, and it gives you the reason to continue down the path you wish to embark on. It would be an understatement to assert that maintaining commitment is difficult for most of us. We set goals like, I will wake up every day at this time for a month, or I will refrain from eating junk food for X period of time. Staying committed is difficult if you are not grounded in your purpose. If you are unaware of your why you are undertaking these courses of action, then of course you are going to abandon them at some point. It is inevitable that commitment will fall through if you lose sight of the reason you decided upon them in the first place. This is why a purpose is vital, because it will carry you through the moments where it appears hopeless. A purpose will remind you of why you have carried on until now and why you should see things through to the end, to reach the destination that you seek. Okay then, I know purpose is important, you may say, but how do I go about finding one? Well, start with yourself and not what others expect of you. Your purpose must be unique in this manner. It is your purpose because you sanction it. You may share a comparable purpose to a multitude of different people, but your purpose is unique to you because you have authorized it. You have given yourself permission and have concluded that the purpose you hold is uniquely yours and nobody else's. The first step in acquiring a purpose is to accept that you have control over that purpose. The next step would be to utilize that control and formulate it around your identity. So what are your likes and what are your dislikes? What do you want out of life and what do you wish to avoid? In other words, what is a purpose that I can truly stand by? One that does not sacrifice who I am as an individual and what I stand for. A purpose doesn't have to be so astronomical in scope on the one hand. But on the other hand, you should not stifle your potential in drafting up a purpose. Sit down and think, ruminate on who you are and who you want to be. Once you have done that, you can go from there. Think of it as proceeding in the manner in which you would solve a complex equation. You start by picking apart the simplest components and then move on to the more complex aspects. You cannot climb a ladder without the lower rungs in place. So start at the bottom and work your way up. Eventually you will find that purpose you have been seeking. And if you have not found it yet, keep looking. For those of you that have a purpose now, remain steadfast and know that it will guide your way.